Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for this question and answer video. My name is David. This channel is Damar's Coaching. If you find this video beneficial to you or maybe to somebody else, I'd appreciate you supporting it by voting, subscribing, sharing. Best thing you could do is ask questions. A lot of you guys still get confused. You just go down below in this video, down in the comment section, ask me anything you want. Come back next video for my answer. Let me know what you think of it. No bad questions, no stupid questions, repetitive questions are welcome. I just try to give you good answers, okay? Let me know what you think of my answers, not just if they're good or bad, if they make sense, if you understand, if I got your question right even, okay? Sometimes I miss questions. It's not on purpose. Just let me know. Thank you. Appreciate that. I try to recommend something every week. This week, I'm going to recommend that this Valentine's Day, you have a good day, okay? You can show your love to yourself by giving something to yourself, by being good to yourself, by saying, I love you. Some of you have bad memories associated with Valentine's Day. Usually it's the last one our memory cares about. If last year was a bad one, make this one a decent one, and so next year it won't be so bad, okay? That's it. Self-care, self-love, self-giving, self-forgiving, all of it, right? Or spend it with someone that you like, a friend or something, okay? Let's get into the questions. All I ask you guys, please tell us where you're from if you can. Be general. Give us locations. Thank you very much. So the first question is from Sonia Paris. I'm going to... Oh, you're from Toledo, Ohio. Thank you. The relationship with me and my ex ended in July. I was a discard that was initiated by him, becoming physically violent out of the blue, so I had no choice but to let him go. Good. He went back to his ex. Everything seemed fine. We had no contact for months. Yeah. See, their relationships don't last, so they could be all great. Yeah, it won't last. And then in November, he started threatening me with violence. Called me all kind of names under the sun. Although I blocked him, he left voicemails on my phone that ended up in my blocked files. Went up to my friends and accused them of threatening him. All while he is still together with the woman he went back to. I am now even more scared of him than during the end of our relationship. He is totally losing it so much that I had to get the police involved. Why this escalation, although I gracefully let him go without any fuss? And are there any steps besides no contact that I can implement to keep me safe and him out of my life? I'm sorry. You know, a failed relationship's already bad enough, and we grieve the loss, and if there's trauma, sounds like to heal from, it just makes it so much worse. And then it's hard to keep it behind us when they keep coming back. Yeah. You already got the police involved. One thing that'll help is look at your social media accounts. We don't want him to see us or hear about us or anything like that. So you tell the people that you know, please do not talk to him. Do not ever tell him anything about me. And same goes the other way. Don't let your friends tell you anything about him, right? It'll help your healing. But to keep him away, we want to make sure that he has no contact with you at all. Anything from answering the phone, replying to an email, anything like that. We don't want to convey any messages to him, nothing. And we don't want him to even be able to see us on Facebook, whatever you use. No more updates. It'd be great if you can close them for a while so he doesn't see any pictures. You said, why the escalation? And it just shows to me how he's feeling inside. The worst experience for all of us is loss, losing people. Either they pass or the relationship fails. It's our worst experiences. And for someone who has a personality disorder, can't even handle a relationship, let alone the loss. This person can't handle the loss because he hates himself. When we lose someone in our life, that's when we introspect, and that's when we're the most self-critical. And for some of us, it hurts too much and can't look at ourselves, him. And so he goes to somebody else, and he's just doing anything he's thinking of that will make him feel better, not really looking at himself, and does not know how to make himself feel better on his own. He's totally dependent and reliant on others to make him feel better, and you've made him feel good. He remembers that. He may be entitled and doesn't care, not appreciative, but he knows that you're a good source that makes him feel good. So he's trying to have you make him feel good instead of getting help and learning how to do that himself. Stress. Stress is everything to people with mental illness, especially personality disorders. The stress is what makes these traits surface in the first place. That's why they're okay in the beginning. They're not stressed. They're not attached to you. They don't have fears. They don't have responsibilities. They don't have to take accountability. Well, at the end of a relationship, we sure do. We have responsibilities. We be held accountable. We don't like ourselves if we're acting like this. It makes perfect sense to me. I hope just that simple explanation helps you. I've said this many times, so maybe you've heard me say this, and maybe that's not enough. If it isn't, just ask me again. Ask me something more specific, and I can be more specific for you. You've already had the police involved. Get a lawyer. Get a lawyer. Get a lawyer, have him write a letter, cease and desist, file police reports, things like this. Maybe that'll help. The problem is, it sounds like he's obsessed. Obsessed means I don't have a life, don't like my life. Also a problem with PDs, personality disorders, they're just not very in control of their behaviors, especially under massive duress like this. So he's experiencing massive, massive stress, and he can't make himself feel better, or at least he doesn't know how. Not in touch with himself, doesn't have a relationship with himself. Anything he tells himself doesn't matter. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Take care of you. And I know he's becoming more physical and stuff like this, but really sit down and think about what you're really afraid of happening, because you said you're getting so much more scared. Sometimes our brains, just to keep you safe, will tell you he's going to come kill you or something. You might have thoughts like that. And if he doesn't really do anything like that, if he doesn't try to kill people, he probably won't try. We can do things to help our security, personal security at home, when we're by ourselves. Carry some mace. Sometimes that helps. Have cameras and lights at your house. Make sure your doors and windows are locked. As long as he doesn't have a key, change the locks. We tell people in our lives, that helps. Tell people, ask them what you would like them to do. Please don't ever talk to him. Please don't tell him anything about me. Please don't tell me anything about him. Okay? Don't go look at his stuff and his social media. But we don't want him to see you or hear about you. And that tends to help the obsession. I don't know how long he's been doing this for. You ended in July. I don't know how many times you've still had conversations with him since then. If you haven't talked to him at all since July, and now, we're going on like 7 months, something like that, getting close to 8, that's pretty scary. It is. Usually this stuff stops in 2 months, 3 months. After 6, it becomes a big problem. They become kind of dangerous. They say after 2 years, they never stop. Not to scare you. We're still far away from that, aren't we? So, protect yourself. Heal. Take more measures if you think you need to. We don't need to escalate it if it's not necessary. But just consider, sometimes it just feels better to talk to a lawyer. Let them tell you what you can do, stuff like this. Okay? I hope you're talking to somebody, Sonia, that you have some kind of professional help. I can help people with fears, really. That's one of the easiest, quickest ways to help people with fears, by talking to them about it, knowing what they're really scared of. I mean, fear is the one emotion that we have less awareness of more than any. And we can just be really afraid of something totally general. We make ourselves afraid of something that's not even realistic, that will probably never happen. They can become phobias, really big, monster size. Talking, writing helps. Getting some professional feedback. Okay, Sonia, I'm really sorry. I am. I hope that you'll be okay emotionally and physically. But the further away you stay from this person, the safer you are. and take some preventative measures. Sometimes just the preventative measures I listed seems to help us feel better. But more often than not, this stops. It does. We always think that somebody else in their life will distract them. The problem is they never heal from the past relationships. These emotions stay open and they get distracted from their emotions, but they're still there. And so their relationships will never work. And so eventually the next relationship falls apart, and it helps them be more aware of how they feel about you. Okay? So, they're very unstable. Their lives go like this. So right now you're catching them. He's down here. Hopefully it'll go back up. Typically, though, no sight, out of mind eventually. It's very rare that people continue this kind of obsession forever. Extremely rare. But you talk to the police. Don't be afraid to talk to them again. And I'd advise to talk to a lawyer. Just talk to a lawyer at least. You can call you're in Ohio. You can call your Ohio State Bar. Ask to talk to a lawyer. They'll get you a lawyer. Sometimes they're free. Sometimes they're up to $40 to talk to one. Okay. Good luck, Sonia. If you have more specific questions on how I can help you better, please ask. And the next question is from Christina. Don't know where you're from. Let us know next time. Thanks for all the important videos and support for this unbelievable, hard, and frustrating pressure to have been in relationships with a person with borderline personality disorder. You're welcome. Thank you for thanking me, Christina. I'm sorry about your experience. Learn everything you can from it and turn it from one of the worst to one of the best you've had. Rory from Ohio. Hi, Rory. David, we're pretty much established that narcissists don't like being questioned. No, they don't. At least my husband didn't take to it kindly. He got so upset one time when I had questions, he went straight to yelling, "If we get a divorce, you would get my kids, my house, my pension." I replied back, "Did you listen to yourself? First, the only one mentioning divorce is you, and apparently I've contributed nothing to our life, our household. Do they just like hearing themselves, or are they so self-impressed that they think they're the only one contributing to the relationship?" Well, I can't tell you specific people, but people with personality disorders, if you're talking about, if you think you had one, yeah, they're very lack self-awareness. The ego makes them think, the beginning of a relationship like a narcissist. Narcissists, when they love bomb, which is just fake, and they treat you so well, they're really conditioning you to how they want to be treated. And so that stops pretty soon, and they want you to take over, and you could treat them 10 times better, but they think that it's not even half as good as they treated you. It's the narcissist that thinks that they can't be replaced at work. They're just so good, they'll fail without me, and then they get fired and realize that's not true. Stress. Your husband couldn't handle the stress of life, the stress of relationships, the stress of being a husband, and the stress of being a father, and the stress of keeping his job. People will talk to you about what's important to them. He did mention kids and divorce. It's interesting. He didn't say, "I'll lose you." He said divorce. Sometimes we have to pay attention to the things they say. Narcissists care much more about marriage and divorce than they do their husband or wife status, what it looks like. It's huge for us. One of the worst failures, I'd say the two worst failures society says are failures are what? Getting fired and divorced, right? So they could hate their job, but getting fired, they can't handle. They could hate you, but getting divorced, they can't handle. The stresses of a relationship are too much for them. Relationships aren't easy, being vulnerable and communicating real well and being agreeable and stuff like this. They didn't learn that stuff. And everything is too hard for them. It's like they're always just right there about to lose it. It's all it takes, These are fears he had, feels unstable, can't control and manage his life. That's why he was so controlling and managing yours. Do you see that? Why do they lose it all the time? I would imagine he was irritable a lot. Yeah, someone who's really irritable is just about to lose their shit. Yeah, okay? We need people that are stable. that can emotionally regulate, that can communicate and be vulnerable and be agreeable, things like this. And we can see these things just dating someone before we marry them, usually. Usually. We want to know who someone is under stressful conditions, under a crisis. That can take a while. It'll come out eventually. Okay? I'm sorry, Rory, that you had to live with that for so long. Awful. Your next question. All of the disorders seem to be able to overlap into each other. Do you find it confusing? I know I do. I appreciate the time you put into answering questions. Thank you, Rory. Yeah, it is confusing. It can be. It takes a long time to learn these things. You know, professionals with formal education need more time. I've had too many clients that are psychiatrists, psychologists, and therapists, and they wonder where I learned this stuff. They're like, we touched on it in school, but I never learned the things that you're talking about. It just means they need more formal education. There needs to be more understanding of what this does to other people. That's something they don't know. Personality disorders are for the patient, not for the family, not for the boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, wives, or children, sadly. And that's where they need to have better understanding. Not just what they do and why, how it affects other people. Not just psychology, but sociology is so important, isn't it? Yeah, personality disorder, the traits overlap big time. And that's why it's a very specific criteria. And we can't just look at somebody who's suicidal and say they're borderline. We can't look at one person who has a big ego or is grandiose and say they're a narcissist. We can't look at a weird person and just say they're schizotypal. Very distinct criteria. And once you do that, it gets easier to understand each one of those traits. And that's why it takes many therapists. It could take 6 months to diagnose someone with a personality disorder. And all too often, people with these disorders are seeing therapists and are never diagnosed. Yeah, hope I answered your question. Thank you, Rory. Kelly. Don't know where you're from. Let us know next time, please. Kelly and Aaron, 2005. Do you feel like there is a time limit that should be implemented on learning about narcissism or mental health topics that we've newly discovered about our loved one? Can it become detrimental to our healing? I'm nearing 5 months no contact with a covert narcissist, and I'm spending quite a bit of time exploring info. I'm also in therapy, good, and trying to reclaim my old self as well. You're doing good things, Kelly. You're going to heal, okay? Self-investment always pays off. And I get this question a lot. I understand it. I know what's going on. I'm not telling any of you that you're doing this, but the loss thing, a very dependent, toxic relationship, it's gone, and we might fill that void with these videos. Okay, we might. There's no time limit. It doesn't matter. All that matters is how you feel, not what you're doing. It's how you feel about it that matters. My question, if I was talking to you, Kelly, or now, is how do they make you feel? If they start making you feel bad and stressed and anxious and depressed, maybe we take a break. Okay? I found this information a decade ago, and I haven't stopped. It's extremely interesting. I love it. I don't think you could ever fully understand psychology or sociology ever. You know, there's just so much involved in it. People and their brains and their behaviors and how we interact with each other, I find extremely important and are interesting, and I always will. I know this. I love my work. I love what I do. I hope it comes out and shows. What if you want to become a therapist now? Right? I would say definitely don't stop learning more. Yeah. But just be careful if we're replacing this loss that we're grieving with these videos, if they're not offering you the information that you're looking for anymore, if you have a good understanding and you find yourself just occupying time and space and thoughts with these videos. Again, how does it feel, Kelly? Let me know. Tell me. You have a lot of other people that are have the same concerns, share the same concerns as you do. And it just doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what we're doing, only how we feel about it. Okay? I'm really glad you're in therapy. If you weren't, I would say, hey, you know what? Why don't you spend your time more productively by healing? Because that's what we're trying to do, isn't it? We need to know. Our brains, period, need to make sense of what happened. We can't just chalk it up as they're crazy. They're just mean. I wasn't good enough. I'll try to be better. Stuff like this. Learning, understanding can help alleviate guilt and shame and self-doubt. The three biggest symptoms coming from emotional trauma, okay? Is it productive? Is it helping you? Is it serving you? And how does it feel? Doesn't feel good? How can we make ourselves feel better? Okay? Hope I answered that, Kelly. But you're not allowed to stop watching my videos, okay? Just kidding. Willa from Jersey. Hi, Willa. You amaze me. Yes, the human condition is not very well. I can't see it. But you do explain so much. Good. Yes, the human condition. We're not perfect. Nobody is. Perfect is, well, problems. Yeah. And then our problems don't make us who we are. Our experiences don't necessarily make us who we are. It's what we do with them, what we do about them. Okay? That makes us who we are. And understanding the human condition helps with compassion for others and then self-compassion in return. Start Pixie 12. Don't know where you're from. Great video, coach. Thank you. My BPD ex suddenly resurfaced and sent me a happy birthday message after 10 months of complete no contact since the breakup. Not sure what to think of this. Do you mind shedding some light about the intentions, reasons for this according to your expertise? Yeah, I think that applies to the last comment I was answering. People with borderlines, they almost have no self-awareness. What's funny is, sad is a lot of them think they do. They'll tell you who they are, and you're like, well, that doesn't make sense. For instance, I get flooded and inundated with people with this disorder, or people who care about somebody with this disorder, and they're so mad at me about the things I say. And they say, David, I don't do any of the things you say. And then I say, well, I guess you're not a borderline. That's simple, right? If you don't meet the diagnostic criteria, I guess you're not. But for some reason, someone who got to know you really well believes you are. A professional who's trained and educated believes that you are. Not doing any of the things I say, I think I'm gonna make a separate video all about this, but again, someone who doesn't know who they are doesn't feel good about who they are, period. It's not just, oh, I love myself, but I have no idea who I am, right? It's like saying you love someone you don't know, right? I'll show you a stranger, someone you never met. Do you love them? Could you? Maybe. No. You can't hate them either. Okay? Doesn't know themselves means doesn't like to be alone. Means that loss, the hardest thing for us, is 10 times harder for them. If I don't know myself, don't have a relationship with myself, I cannot heal. The first step of changing my life, of forgiving somebody, of taking accountability, all of that is to look at myself, right? And if I'm not doing that, I don't heal. What does that mean? That means that all your memories in your past are emotionally significant. That's why we remember them. Good ones we recall, we feel good. The bad ones we can remember because they're still open. An emotion opens and we have to close it. We do that by expressing our emotions healthy right away. But if we don't, they will stay open forever, guys, forever. And if we just ignore our anger all the time, we'll be angry forever, and we'll lose why we're angry. We'll lose the source, the reason. This is somebody, if they're diagnosed, no contact, 10 months, happy birthday. probably has emotions, realize it was your birthday, there's the emotions still there. I can't make myself feel better. My girlfriend, Start Pixie, has made me feel better. I need her. I need to talk to her. That'll make me feel better. Horrible boundaries. She may not want me to. Oh well. Not in control of my behaviors. Probably feels ashamed afterwards. But then keep doing it again and again because I can't look at myself. I can't remember why I feel bad. I can't remember that it makes me feel bad. I'm not in control of my behaviors. I can't process things. I can't look into the future and say, hey, this will make me feel bad. Just none of it. Completely reliant on you to do all that for them. I'm sorry. I'm sure it brought up, well, if it brought up emotions to you, that might mean that you have some more healing to do. Okay? At our bishop. Don't know where you are? Please tell us your locations, everybody. I'm going to try to say it every question, start and beginning, and start and beginning of every video. And then maybe tell us your locations. Can you also discuss BPDs making false police reports? Harassing and stalking accusations. Why do they do this? So, you have a mixture of things happening. And it could be a mixture of this, or it could be just one. But you have a victim mentality person. What does that mean? That means that they're victimized sometime in their life, like all of us, and they don't heal from it. That means they're still a victim, right? If someone sits there and beats me up, and the next day, they stopped, I'm not a victim anymore. But if I keep feeling the same as I did is when they beat me up, I'm still a victim. I believe I'm still a victim. The more that we lose a sense of who we are, the more we listen to this thing, what we are, not who we are. And this thing takes over, it makes us scared. Someone who cannot protect themselves, someone who cannot make themselves feel better, will tell them that people are horrible, society's bad. Somebody who's not reliant on themselves and can't take care of themselves will try to idealize a hero, save me, carry me, make me feel good. But the second you do something wrong, or they think you did something wrong, and that's another part. Their perception, their cognitive abilities are not functioning well. They're taking information in, and they're sorting it out in their head, and it's coming out wrong and different. Your tone of voice means you hate me. That's it. What was that word you said? Oh, you can't remember what I said? You don't love me anymore. I mean, it's just ready, always ready. And that's the splitting. You're here to help me or hurt me. Help me or hurt me. You can help me now, but you can hurt me later. You may be trying to hurt me. I hope that makes sense. Another part is vengeance. Revenge. Revenga. Be careful if people have a vengeance mentality. Take time to get to know somebody and you'll see it. Talk about somebody who wronged them. What is their attitude? If I tell you, you start dating me or you're my best friend, and I start telling you about my ex-wife that I haven't talked to in a few years, and I'm bringing her up, and you can see my emotion, I just can't believe she did this to me. I'm not healed. How can somebody I'm not healed. Guess what my ex-wife did? I'm not healed. But if you ask me and I say, yeah, my ex-wife, what about her? Well, did she ever abuse you? Yeah, she did. Do you see that? I didn't bring it up. No emotion tied to talking about it. I'm okay. I'm healed. Right? Vengeance. When someone can't regulate their emotions and they're our lives go like this. Theirs go like this. Our emotions go like this. Theirs go like this. Okay? And when I'm here, and I can't regulate this, requires action now. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? You guys have all hurt people, and you weren't really aware. You weren't using all your empathy, all your sympathy, all your compassion, remorse, and regret when you did it. It took a second for you to realize it. That's looking at yourself. That's being in touch with your feelings, your values, stuff like this. They're not. They're just not. They don't know who they are. There's no relationship with themselves there. The more unstable you become, the more impulsive you become, and that's why they sabotage their life so freaking fast. Boom. They could build and work and invest on something for years and just throw it away at a dime. Because their brain told them to. You're dangerous. Boom. Gone. I'm sorry. I didn't know what I was doing. And you say, okay, I understand. I'll take you back. And then they just do it again next week. And you can have this conversation with them. And you can believe they totally understand. And you can be totally convinced they'll never do it again. And then they do. And that whole process is just cut short. Boom, boom, boom. Cognitive functioning. Can't realize this. Can't see this. Can't process this. Okay? I hope that helped. Please let me know if you have more questions about it, or I can help you understand better. And Rel Rodriguez, I don't know where you're from. Oh, yep, I do. I remember you. Gosh, haven't found anyone better than you and won't. Thank you, if that was for me. You're right on point on everything. Another question from discarded mom and children of 3 and 5 from California. Ex-BPD abandoned me and my children approximately 6 months ago already. I'm trying real hard with the no contact. Expect if it has to do with the kids. When my ex-BPD contacts me, oh, I had a rough night, I cried a lot, I missed the kids, etc., and reaches out to me, then disappears, push-pull, right? Why do they do that? Do they try to pull us to them, contact us when they're feeling their worst? Or do they reach out to us when they're feeling their best? When someone's feeling their best and their life's going really well, that's not who they are necessarily. But when their life's really bad and they're really stressed, how they're behaving, it really shows who they are. Okay? This just sounds like a father who doesn't care too much about his children. This also sounds like a husband who hasn't healed from losing you. Again, he can't make himself feel better, and so he thinks that you can still. He thinks his own children will make him feel better. You say you call them borderline, so I'm assuming he's borderline. Borderline men seem to not care too much about the children, not very involved. Sounds like what he's doing now, right? Only calls when he's feeling bad, wants to feel better. So impulsive, so unstable. I love them today, I don't care about them now. That fast. Literally, a borderline can text you. You take, too many minutes to text back, they already changed how they felt. That fast. We could have tens of thousands of different emotions, tens of thousands of things that our body is doing that's all different in all different places of our body. It's like an onion. Each layer is a different emotion and different emotion and different emotion, right? I mean, I can feel nervous about a test I have next week, and I can be pretty upset that my dog died a month ago still, and I can be very excited about some plans I have, and I can be really happy right now about what I'm doing with an underlying depression and 1,000 more. If I don't know how to regulate these and process these and express them and close them, I'm a mess. Just a mess. In one glass of wine, I can go from happy to sad to angry to crying. I recommend that you don't talk to him anymore. No more texting, no more phone calls. If he wants to, anything he wants with the kids, that's up to you. And you can use an application on your phone for this. We only speak through this app. This can be decided through courts or with your lawyers, stuff like this, or just tell them. I would text them this kind of stuff and save it, that you've tried with this and you said, I don't want to talk to you anymore. It's up to you. I'd imagine this doesn't feel good. Yeah, I'm sure. Doesn't feel good. And if he wants a relationship with the children, he's got to try. He's got to participate. He's got to pay. He's got to be available and make plans and stick with what he says and stuff like this. Because all of this is bad for your kids too. I would imagine, I don't know him, but I imagine he feels really bad and misses you and hasn't healed from this relationship, and also feels like a total loser as a father. Stuff like this, can't deal with his own shame, starts to feel it, wants you to make him feel better. He thinks that his children will make him feel better. And then by the, next minute, it's already done. Doesn't feel that way anymore. It must be very confusing. I'm sorry. And let's see, this is KVK4643. My ex blocked me and I don't care. It's relief. Good. Why did you wait for them to block you? Block them. Tracy7880 from Mississippi. Can you do a video on the borderline friend? Yeah. Next one. Next video. Next couple days. Thank you for the recommendation. Please, guys, give me recommendations. Seriously. I'll try to do every video that you say. There was one video I told somebody a couple weeks ago I'll do, and I forgot. If that's one of you guys, can you tell me again? It had something to do with borderline. And I've been working on a video for BPD for the last 2 weeks. It might be that one. So I'm going to try to come out with both those this week. But yeah, please, guys, let me know. Ask me to do any videos you want. This is Rodriguez again from California. I think you forgot to answer one of my questions from your last Q&A regarding dissociating. I'm sorry. Thanks for asking again. A lot of the times I would talk to my ex-BPD in front of his face, and he would be on his phone, for example. I would say something like, good morning, or what are you going to do today? And he wouldn't answer. He would just be like out of it on his phone scrolling. I would then say it again and nothing. At times I would raise my voice and say hello, good morning, and he would like snap out of it and say, I didn't hear you. I would say, how did you not hear me if I've been right in front of your face? You'd be amazed. I had to go to the next page. I can't find it. Funny face. Talking to you, and he would say he didn't remember. This was another odd thing he would do. Is this dissociation? If yes or no, can you still explain it and give examples of someone is dissociating? I hope it makes sense. Thank you. Yeah, it all makes sense. I can't tell you what he was doing or experiencing. Some people just simply do that on purpose to control you. Dissociating. Dissociating is something that we may have all done in our lives. The mellow form of it, very, very small, would be like daydreaming. It's a safety mechanism, a defense and safety mechanism that we do when things are too hard to handle for us. Our nervous system goes offline. Sometimes people won't remember very well when they're dissociating. There are dissociative disorders, and that's depending on how much someone does it, maybe throughout the entire day, causing more problems in your life, becomes a disorder. Now we have dissociative identity disorder, used to be multiple personalities. There's a couple more. I don't know what he was doing. He could have been dissociating. Very, very common way that it might look to someone else is if I'm dissociating, usually it's something stressful. I mean, you may not think it's stressful, but if I'm borderline, then I think everything's stressful, especially when you're talking to me about something I did, something I have to do. You're mad at me, you might leave me, I can't handle it, I might start dissociating, things like that. And you may not know. I could be simply looking at you and dissociating right now. You may not know. But what will typically happen is they may become listless, and they may kind of just... And then real common is if you're talking to somebody who's dissociating, that sentence will kind of just trail off to kind of just, yeah, they might forget what they're saying, stuff like this. I could go off on what, no matter what, this person doesn't value respect to you, can't communicate. I mean, that's safe to say, right? Because I don't blame mental illness on mistreating people. How many times can you say sorry before you not get help? They're not very mindful of what they're doing. They lack the knowledge of how it's affecting people around them. So I couldn't tell you if someone's dissociating. Only he could, unless it was some professional could study him better and know. But it could be dissociating. But either way, we don't stand for it. We just don't. He can get help for things like this. And if he chooses not to, that doesn't mean we allow it to ruin our lives and cause us stress, right? Yeah, he needs to learn how to communicate with people. And the best form of communication, the most important part of communicating is listening. It's really hard to communicate with somebody that doesn't know who they are. Most of the things that we say are I statements. They're about ourselves, about what I'm thinking about somebody else, how I feel, and what I want, and what I need. Imagine not being able to communicate that. I always use Helen Keller as an analogy. Helen Keller had extreme anger issues, extremely physically violent, because she couldn't communicate. She couldn't express anything, couldn't ask for anything, get what she wanted and needed, sad. And I just use that as a analogy for how borderlines feel, how bad at communicating they can be, and the anger issues that they have. I don't know if that helps, if that answer helps you. If you could, I'd please appreciate some feedback and ask me more questions about that so I can better help you. Everyone, I encourage everyone to talk therapy, not just to our friends and our family who don't know how to help us and may become stressed from it, but talk to a professional. This is very serious stuff and very complex to most people. Okay? You're all worth it. Valentine's Day, do something that shows that you love yourself. Tell other people you love them. Look in their eyes. Give them a kiss. Give them a hug. Give them a gift. Do that for yourself, okay? Everyone. Let me know what you think of my answers. Please keep asking questions. Please, please, please. And support. Thumbs up, share, like. Love yourself first, guys. See you next week. Bye-bye.